Hi everyone, my name is Giada Williams, and this is my video lesson project talking about the rock cycle. So first I want to discuss what actually causes the rock cycle to occur. So one reason is the Earth's intense internal heat. This causes material to move around in the core and the mantle, driving plate tectonics. Essentially, since Earth's core is still very hot, it keeps the mantle moving and alters plate tectonics. This movement is what allows rocks to melt, shift, and change over time. Another reason that Another cause of the rock cycle is actually the hydraulic cycle. And this is the movement of water, ice, and air at the surface, which is powered by the sun. So Earth has a relatively thick atmosphere and a lot of liquid water. And this water and air then lead to, as we know, lots of weathering and erosion. So, since rocks are constantly being broken down into sediments from these processes, the rock cycle can never stop. So, this is just what I grabbed from our textbook. It's a little diagram kind of talking about the rock cycle and all the moving parts of it. So, one quick note to understand before I get started explaining is that it is technically not a cycle because you can essentially start at anywhere at any time. So, instead of a simple circle, it's more of like a continuous process where rocks are constantly changing from one type to another. So there's like no starting point for creating rocks because it's just like a continuous loop that like always happens. So I think it's personally convenient to start with magma, which is right here. So that's what I'm going to begin talking from. So magma is a melted rock that is located super low and deep within the earth. So if magma cools slowly within the earth, it forms what we know as igneous intrusive rocks. And these rocks usually have bigger crystals because the slower cooling time, the more time there is for crystals to form. So then when magma erupts onto the surface, we refer to it as lava. And this lava tends to have a pretty fast cooling time, thus forming extrusive igneous rocks right here. And these rocks usually have no visible crystals at all and are sometimes covered in holes because they cool so quickly. Then rocks are uplifted through mountain building, and this is referred to as outcrop. So essentially, this is how rocks once buried deep within the earth can be exposed at the earth's surface. So then from outcrop, the weathering products, mostly these are usually like small rock and mineral fragments, are eroded, transported, and then deposited as what we know as sediments. Transportation and deposition occur through the action of glaciers, streams, waves, wind, and other agents. Unless sediments are re-eroded and moved along, they will eventually go through the burial, compaction, and sedimentation process, as shown right here. After getting buried, the sediments become compressed and compacted, forcing particles closer together. Mineral crystals then grow around and between the particles of sediments, binding them together, resulting in the formation of a sedimentary rock, right here. Next, as rocks get buried very deeply within the crust, they reach pressure and temperatures much higher than those at which sedimentary rocks form. So this is when metamorphic rocks are created, right here. And as these are already existing rocks that are heated up and squeezed together under pretty extreme temperatures and conditions. Lastly, metamorphic rocks can continue deeper into the earth where temperatures become high enough to melt them back into magma. Once this happens, the cycle essentially restarts. That magma can cool again to form igneous rocks, continuing the rock cycle. So that's essentially how the rock cycle works. I hope you guys were able to gain some new information that could help you study for our upcoming test. That is the end of my lesson. And thank you for listening.